Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, you may notice a certain proliferation of dragonry. Yes, I can indeed say that here there be dragons. And an imp. My production manager there, Mr. Kentucky Fudge, who's anything but a dragon. He's far, far worse. Now, the video you're about to see is not the video to do with all of this dragonry. No. I had set up to do a big, in-depth, at-length video about one of my favourite fantasy films of all time, Dragon Slayer. I have mentioned it a fair few times of late. And yeah, I was all set up, but as usual, my timing went awry. It's been a long weekend of bank holidays and Easter and all that sort of buffoonery. And of course, it's Bank Holiday Monday today, so everyone's still off. I'm off all the time because I stopped working. Hey! But some would say I never began, but that's another story. So I got set up for all this, and believe you me, this guy in particular is very precarious. To get him where he is right now and to keep those fucking wings in place has been a nightmare. And then Mrs. Kilt-Man said, "Oh, going shopping now." "Oh no, you're going shopping? That means you're going to come back with all loads of bags and I've got to get all the stuff and oh no, and the bread bin's just there and there's cupboards and stuff over there and the fridge freezer's over there, so all the bags will be sent here." Because in my infinite lack of wisdom, I have set up my studio, my main studio, in the kitchen of Kilt Mansion. That was clever, wasn't it? You know. But the reason why I'm here is because of, well, the PC, the archaic PC is here. And on that PC resides thousands and thousands of movie scores. The movie scores that you hear playing in the background whenever I do reviews. The appropriate film score will be there, by and large. And so one day, whilst, you know, in my suddenly not getting up in the morning and having to do a 9 to 5, you know, ass to the grindstone sort of work a day job, I'm going to set up an entirely new studio, probably in one of the attics. So, but it'll take some doing, and I'm kind of not looking forward to it either because there's a lot of stuff to be shifted around. I have done videos in one of the attics where you've seen, because we have an attic and we have a loft as well. And the loft is lower than the attic and it goes out to a different part of the roof and battlements of and turrets of Kilt Mansion. And I've got grandiose plans for that area as well. But again, haven't done them. They have not come to fruition. So I'm still stuck down here and a slave to when the washing machine is on or when bags of shopping get brought back in. All the serfs will come legging it in. "Lord KM, Master KM, here's the provisions," you know. And I'll be whipping him. Hurry along. Get the whiskey sorted first, you know. So anyway, I thought, you know, when you get geared up to do a video, you kind of like, I want to do it, but now I can't. I'm going to have to wait till all the stuff's back and been put away before I can begin and settle down. So I thought, oh, fuck it. I'll do a video anyway, because I'll make it nice and short. And if it gets interrupted, so what? Because it's a film that no one really cares about. I watched a film last night, which is from my childhood. And, well, you've seen it in the title, so you know what it is. I always forget the big clues there in the sort of opening thumbnail and video title. But after being out with Roxy the Wonder Dog for hours and hours and having watched Dragon Slayer a good couple of times and watched all the fantastic extras that are on that disc, the 4K disc, which has just come out, we watched the Liverpool game in the pub, me and the dog. Well, not in the pub, we watched it in the beer garden on the big outdoor screen, and yeah, there was moments of absolute despair, moments of glory, and then moments of just, well, that actually was quite a good game, but should have been a better result than that. I won't go into that. So when I come home, kind of crashed out really, and then I thought, oh fuck it, I'm going to bed. I'm not arsed. I mean, this would be about like, I don't know, 9:30 last night. So I knew there's a TV in the room, and we've got various players in there as well. So I thought, oh, what did I find? Which I'd set up and obviously left beside the bed eons ago. The DOUG MCCLURE Fantasy Adventure Triple Bill, which has The Land That Time Forgot, Warlords of Atlantis, and At the Earth's Core. All tripe, but all very enjoyable. And I watched Warlords of Atlantis, and what a pile of old tosh. Now, that came out in 1978, directed by Kevin Connors, is it? Kevin Connors? Kevin Conroy? You see, normally I've got all my little notes and I know all this stuff, but Kevin Connor, and he did all of them, I think, for Amicus, who did those fantastic portmanteau anthology horror movies. A fabulous studio, almost rivaled Hammer, but kind of got hammered at the end of it. But they are massively fantastic and well thought of. But their fantasy movies are on the cheapo side. Obviously inspired by Ray Harryhausen. And you brought an American star in, DOUG MCCLURE, the great DOUG MCCLURE. And a great name as well, DOUG MCCLURE. And he's a likeable chap. He's put a bit of beef on in this movie. So this is 1978. I'm not sure what year it's set in. I can't remember now. But they're on it's an expeditionary ship with called the Texas Rose, I think it is. And they're heading out to a particular area where, did Atlantis go down here? And they've got a bathysphere. That's a diving bell, one of those old-fashioned diving bells. And so you've got Gregory, who built it. That's DOUG MCCLURE, our hero, our beefcake hero. And you've got God, what's his name? What's his name now? From the Unedin line, playing Charles, who's the big investigator. Peter Gilmore plays Charles. Right, let's get this right. I better keep that up. The names are on this. And they go down in this bathysphere, and they find this huge golden edifice down there of I'm not sure what it is now, some creature on a huge, golden pedestal, and they managed to get it winched up. And of course the crew, and on the crew you've got the obvious Irishman there, but you've also got John Ratzenberger looking kind of mean as well, with a proper droopy moustache and everything. And you've got the Irish, not the Irish guy, the English sort of always plays a rogue, a ruffian. He's got a big gruff voice, and he's never plays a nice guy. And they're the deckhands. But you've got the captain, and the captain's played by Shane Rimmer. So Shane Rimmer and John Ratzenberger were living in England at the time. So Shane Rimmer had obviously done Spy Who Loved Me and many other movies, playing the token American in a British production. And he's doing the same thing here. And John Ratzenberger had obviously just done, or was about to do, A Bridge Too Far. I think he was about to do it, because that was the year after, I'm sure it was, 79. So they happen to be there. So they're drafted on board the Texas Rose. And you've got an aged professor there, and you've got a young son, or a cabin boy, whatever the hell he is, doesn't matter. But Grogan, I think his name is, who's the big gruff guy, and the Irish guy, and John Ratzenberger think, hang on, let's take over the crew, the captain, because they are the crew. There's no one else. There's only the captain, the young boy, and an old guy, and two other guys in a bathysphere down below. And we'll take this, it's gold. So they stage a mutiny, and the old professor gets shot, and it's a shocking scene. And then they cut the cables to the bathysphere, so our two heroes and they sort of get sucked into some kind of wormhole. In the meantime, a bloody big giant squid octopoid type stop motion creature comes up with its big bulbous head. I just knocked that dragon. Any second now it's going to fall to pieces, like a big tower of Jenga with the wrong piece removed. And it comes up, and with its big tentacles, it manages to grab everybody off board, except for the old guy who's been shot, who's not dead, and the young cabin boy. And it gets everyone. And our boys in the bathysphere see them getting dragged past by this huge bloody beast. And they're underwater for quite some time. And these guys don't drown. They all will contrive to end up being sucked through this sort of cave system. And they'll bob up in under the sea, but in the sun and all that. Like centre of the earth sort of thing. I don't know. Or is it a mysterious island type thing? But basically, it's Atlantis. Actually filmed on the lovely island of Gozo, which is a sister island to Malta. Been to Malta a few times. Been to Gozo once. They filmed in the waters around Malta for this production, but they filmed entirely the on-location stuff on Gozo. Lots of old ruins there, sandy coves and beaches and big craggy cliffs. Lovely. It's a lovely place. And these guys all wash up there, and our two heroes don't know that they got cut loose, and the three rogues, well, let's say nothing, let's just pretend to be on their side. So you've got this sort of divergence. We know we can't trust them, and they all swim and get together and all that, like, and well, where are we? Who knows? And then suddenly, Michael Gothard, the great Michael Gothard, who's in so many, The Devils, and so many other movies. Why has the music gone off? I must have pressed pause. I'm playing the soundtrack to Warlords of Atlantis right now by Mike Vickers. We'll talk more on that in a second. Remind me, I've got to keep this short because she's going to come back any moment. So it's a whistle-stop tour of Warlords of Atlantis. So they then, on the craggy cliffs, with his big sort of very 70s spectral alien entity bowl head, you've got Michael Gothard there, and he's strangers, welcome. My men will escort you to safety. Yeah, right, okay. So basically, the one Atlantis, I'm going to condense this. Atlantis is run by aliens who came here eons ago, and the whole thing fucking crashed down. And they want to try to get neutron energy sorted out. So they're trying to find people that they can use to manipulate Earth history and all that to obtain neutron energy, so they can get back to the stars and go back to their home planet. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It doesn't make one iota of sense. But you've got him with his big mad bull and his robes, and you've got the great Daniel Massey, wonderful actor, who had appeared in other Amicus movies as well, the horror ones. He's there, and he's one of the higher ups. Gothard's just like a bit of a, they just use him. You control all of our fishmen, centurion, warrior, soldier bastards, henchmen. I'll talk about those. And but you've Daniel Massey's in charge. I forget all their character names. Matters not. And you've got Sid Charisse. I don't know how old she was when she made this, but oh my god, Sid Charisse with those legs, and she's showing those legs in this with her diaphanous robes and all that, and a really bizarre sort of. It's like a 50s style, what do you call them? The big beehive. That's it, beehive hairdo. But it's like space age. It's bizarre. So I think it's all beaded as well. And but anyway, her legs, Jesus, you're talking Granny Gilf, wow stuff. She's amazing. And they realise that Charles, that's Peter Gilmore from the Oneidin line, who's wonderful. You've got brains, so we're going to use you, and we're going to program you to, to do what? What are they trying to program him to do? Well, they wanted to join them because he's a scientist boffin type person, and they put this spectral helmet on him, and they show him what the that's when the air runs out in the bathysphere. what the potential future of Earth is, because this is set before the First World War, I think, because you see this montage of goose-stepping Germans and panzer tanks and like lots of weird stuff. Think Topol in Flash Gordon, which came out, what, 2 years later, where Ming the Merciless and his uber bitch and Clytus are trying to take all the memories out of Topol's Professor Zarkov. It's very, very similar to that, but just in reverse. They're not taking memories from him, they're putting ideas into his head and they're going to use him. You know, that's the plan. But in the meantime, the other boys are like just... There's a girl there. Oh, what's her name? Oh, you're joking. She's fit anyway. Leah. It's like Lea and then Bea. I'm sure I've got that wrong. That's Lebe or Lebe. Booby, basically. Booby is what she's got on offer. And when our boys, they get escorted through the with the henchmen, as I alluded to before. They're muscle-bound guys in like fish suits, but they've got like these. This is what always threw me. They've got these like titanium, silvery, chrome, completely sealed over visors, and a bit of netting on them. Think like the Sea Devils from Doctor Who, and they've got like swords and like spears and things. Although at a point later on, they will have Winchester. We're told Winchester 88s, which they are not, by the way. But Winchester repeating rifles. But in this land, you'll find that it's full of people who've been taken from their various ships by the octopoid creature. And then they've survived, you know, that lengthy spell underwater. And then in a process that the Atlanteans have devised, they give them gills. So they've got gills behind their ears. Yeah, it's water-welled. But so why? But we can't leave. We can't leave. Well, you fucking well can, because you've got gills. You can swim out and you can do anything. You are now totally amphibious. Unless I missed something there, I may have done. But you know, they've got gills. They can go anywhere, do anything. They can live in the sea. They're totally fine. Don't get it. And like that's gonna. But all these other people have been made slaves because down there, or I'm saying down there, and I mentioned, you know, is it like in the centre of the air? It probably isn't. It's another island somewhere, but I don't know because they get sucked under and then they come up and like, oh god, I really don't know. I don't care, you know. But they all work. You've got Robert Brown, who was in Bond movies. Robert Brown with a gilet like this, and he's got his chest out and all grey hair. He's got long, straggly grey hair and a big beard, and he's sparking orders. And they've got these huge ramparts, these huge battlements with cannon. They've got lots of cannon. Obviously, this bloody octopus must be bloody busy, forever getting stuff. And oh god, I'm bringing this all down because he's the Guardian, something, I don't know. Bringing all this stuff through because there's other beasts that are there, and these beasts, which are great big, well, they're not even stop motion. They're just well, I think some are stop motion, but you've got men in suits as well. You know, I think kaiju and all that. It's just big rubbery suits, the big silly heads. One of which looks like the Dagoth from Conan the Destroyer, which is a film I love, by the way, but it's let down, especially by, is it Dagoth or Dagon? But anyway, he looks fucking awful. And it's Carlo Rambaldi, who did E.T. and the chest burster for Alien. You know, he's done a lot of great stuff in his time, although he did do The White Buffalo as well, from Charles Bronson movie The White Buffalo, which you can see the fucking wheels that it's moving on. But it can be great. He worked on King Kong for Dino De Laurenti and John Gilliman, the 76 version that you guys know I love and adore. But so very hit and miss is Rumboldi, and Miss in this particular circumstance. But our guys, whilst they've took the professor off, the guy from the Aeneid line, to force feed him and brainwash him. They've picked fights with these guys to test their mettle, literally test their mettle, because it's a fist fight, and they're punching these guys with fucking complete steel, titanium, chrome visors, which are they're helmets, but they come down there. Obviously, the actors can see through it. Don't know how they work that out, but they're smacking him in the face, and like they're knocking him out. And like, what? You hit and you hear clang, clang. I think a fucking fist like Popeye. Where's that coming from? I just don't get it. When this film came out in '78, I saw it as a kid. I would be 9 years old. Yeah, I'd be 9 years old. And I remember at the Phoenix Cinema, all my mates went to see it. Opening night, Warlords of Atlantis. Oh, it was massively trailers on TV. Oh, great. So go and watch that. I was there night one with about 10 other lads. The next night, it was only me and one other person. Everyone else had fucked off. Well, I'm seeing that now, but I loved it. So the next night, there was me and my mate Nick. And then Nick didn't do another night. But because in those days, films were often on for 2 weeks, even shit like this. Well, especially shit like this. And I watched it every single night, sometimes twice. Coming home from school, I'd go straight to cinema and I'd watch it all night long, because I got in there for nothing anyway. And I could watch any significant movie because I knew the people that owned the cinema, and I went to school with the girl who's the daughter of the people that own the cinema. So, and for many years, that was my life. It was great. And so I watched Warlords of Atlantis every night for about 2 weeks, sometimes a couple of times a night. Loved it. Knew it was shit, but loved it anyway. But I always got really annoyed by the punching of these guys, and I thought, what the fuck? Anyway, so in the meantime, they're trying to drain the brain. No, they're trying to pump the brain of Charles, or Charlie, full of their ideas for what they want the world to do. Neutrons, neutronium, neutrology. Just new stuff to get us off the fucking planet, because it's a shithole. And our boys managed to get imprisoned after a fight, and they realise they're going to be enslaved to work with the cannon and all the and when these great big beasts come attacking. I don't know why they're attacking. I don't know. You've got to cross this horrible chasm of cesspit sewage and all that, where the great big guy in the rubber suit comes up, all sort of superimposed, and and they're all like, oh no. It's a load of old tosh. And, couldn't you have found a better way? Because apparently there is a better way. You don't have to cross that path to get from where they washed up to get to the city where you'll be safe and imprisoned and enslaved. So, there's another way, but we'll come on to that. So our boys start fighting and trying to get out, and a big battle ensues. It's when these movie stories always seem to develop. Someone arrives somewhere right at just the right time, when a big battle takes place, when there's the end of this particular world. It's a pivotal moment for the people that they've just met, and they will prove to be the catalyst to either help these people or help destroy these people and get out. They never just arrive there. Like everybody else in this movie who's there has been there fucking decades. Robert Brown, and it's his daughter's the fit one. His name, I've got no idea what her name is. Calypso, let's just call her that. Can't remember. Fit and little, doesn't wear a great deal. A lot of leg on show, and she is lovely as well. Brunette and very nice. And but we find out that I think his name's Griggs, and he's the captain of the Mary Celeste. Oh, that's where the crew went. Dragged off board by this bloody octopoid guardian or collector, So that's the family dynamic there. But in this big battle, all our boys are imprisoned. You've got the brainwashing taking place of Professor Charlie, and Gregory, Doug McClure, and the other crew, John Ratzenberger, Shane Rimmer, Grogan, and the Irish guy, are in this sort of in the mid in a cell on this huge sloping, horrible, big sandstone wall that these big creatures are crawling up, and they're firing cannon at these, and they're chucking big wooden spikes down and rocks and things like. But Robert Brown gets chomped, dragged off, and a little puppet gets devoured, and the daughter sees that, and then but immediately because she's just met Doug McClure, so but my father. And the beast manages to smack through the cell wall where they all retreat back to the bars, and somehow that gets destroyed as well. And they all escape. And we've got to go and find Charlie. And they do. They find Charlie, who's being sort of brainwashed by Sid Charisse, who could brainwash anybody just by showing those thighs. And Daniel Massey, who could brainwash you just by flicking that incredible alien bowl head he's adopted. And they get him free, and they grab the helmet over his head and smash that, and then he managed to try to escape, and they're being pursued by Michael Gothard and his elite corps of these titanium knob-headed mermen. And they go back to the zoo, and they come back out and all that. And then they find where the main gates are to get back out again. There's a contingent of these henchmen who've got these Winchester rifles. Why aren't they all armed with those? Well, maybe you only got a certain amount. Okay, I'll give it that. But the elite should have those, don't you think? Anyway, so they managed to beat these guys up. The ones who've got rifles. They managed to beat them up. Rifles and, impenetrable steel helmets. They knock them all out and take the guns and then leg it across. And this is the thing. You've got this rickety sort of stepping stone thing through the swampland where this big fucking beast comes up all the time, spitting snot and phlegm everywhere. And they're all firing shots at it. And they will lose. I think the Irish guy, member of the crew, gets chomped there. So off he goes. And but the girl's with him because she's got nothing to live for now. And yet, because her dad's gone. But she will then say that, I'll come on to that. They managed to get to the cliffs where the bathysphere is in the water, in this little lagoon. Right, we need to get back in there, and we can all get out. Lucky that you've lost somebody now, and someone else isn't going to go with you, because you wouldn't all fit in there, would you? You'd have to draw straws, wouldn't you? Or someone's going to hang on the top, because apparently you can fucking breathe under this water. You don't even need gills. If you could get dragged by an octopus for literally miles underwater for ages, and then wake up alive on the beach, then, obviously you're all superhuman to begin with. You're all part fish. I can live in a sea of whiskey quite happily. So they're about to make the descent to that, but they realise that Michael Gothard and his elite team have got there before them. How did they get there before them? And the girl says, they have a secret tunnel. So why do you fucking walk across these stepping stones when you let them in the first place? Why did you take the perilous route where Michael Gothard could have been killed by the big sweaty swamp snotty bastard? I just don't get it at all. But they got ahead of them, and now these guys have got Winchesters, so they're all pot shots. It's like a what's it called now? Judith Diablo or Battle of Apache Pass. They're all on cliff tops shooting at each other, pinging shots off, and a lot of these helmeted guys are getting shot, and they get shot there, but don't just slump down in the rocks. They have to go and fling themselves forward and go down the cliff. So they've got to jump into the water, and Michael Gothard's doing this strange command, and underwater explosives are showering the entire location with just tsunamis of water and big explosions. What the hell? Has he got that? But they're not very good. The bathysphere is there, but you still can't blow that up. So anyway, And it's a very Jules Verne steampunk bathysphere with all nodules and knobs and gauges and things like, and it's very manoeuvrable. Bathyspheres hang down from tubes. They're anchored on and air's pumped down. They're not, if that comes loose, that does not need to be able to manoeuvre itself, but bathyspheres don't do that. Submersibles do, but bathyspheres do not. But this can, because we can get back to that, because DOUG MCCLURE, Gregory, built it. He knows all the safety elements of it, and he can do anything. He can fucking make it fly. I know. It's probably got bloody neutronium missiles on it. If only the Atlanteans knew about that. So they do this jump into the water. But our girl, the fit one, remember who's just lost her dad. In the space of a couple of hours, she's lost her dad, met a love of her life, led a rebellion. It's only been 2 hours, folks. That's it. Not even that, to be honest. And but we see her. She goes, I can't go. I can't leave here. But what will they do to you? Oh, they won't do anything to me. They'll just take me back. Hang on. You've seen her shooting people? Folks, so the red-blooded males out there, some great shots in this. Almost literally. Because she's firing the Winchester. She's sitting on her haunches with those legs, squatting, and she's pinging off shots. Well, I don't need to tell ye. That's probably why I went back time and time again to watch this movie when I was a kid. I didn't know why. But I suddenly found a barrel I didn't know I had. Yeah, it's a great image. It really is. And actually watching it again, like last night, I'd forgot about it, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. And but she won't go, and she'll give Gregory a kiss, but Charles will give her a kiss as well, because Charles is the scientist, and like, oh, thank you so much, and he gives her a kiss on the fod. But she even looks at him with adoring eyes, and they all do this massive leap into the lagoon, and they all swim to the bathysphere. They get in there, they all pull each other into this bathysphere, and he managed to get it fired up, and then it makes this journey through this underwater tunnel, and then comes up through this vortex and comes up right by the Texas Rose ship that it came from, which is just a big yacht. Don't go thinking ship, really. And what you've got is like the professor, the old guy, hasn't died. He was shot in the back but didn't die. And you've got the little lad, he's a teen, and he's there. Cheers, y'all. All our boys get back on board, but the lad's there with 2 revolvers. And they're like, but look, we're back, everything's okay. No, because he knows that 3 of them had tried to do mutiny. He knows that. And they're like, what, is this true? And the captain, Shane Rimmer, and here's the big twist, which is actually quite good. Shane Rimmer just goes, like, come here, son, take the guns. Right, get over there. Like, Grogan and John Ratzenberger, whatever your name is in the film. Come here. Hold this gun. Yeah, we're taking this. You thought, because what you saw earlier on is Grogan gets into the cabin with the captain, Shane Rimmer, because they all want this bloody, golden statue thing. And like, the captain goes, what are you doing in here? But that's when the octopoid attacks the thing and drags them all out. Like, so they don't get resolution. So you're like, well, Captain, are you on our side? Well, who do you think shot the old man? He did! Because you only saw a gun come around the door. So the captain shot the old guy, the professor. You're like, what? That's insane! So, they're all like, they throw all our heroes. Our number of heroes has dwindled down quite a bit now. It's basically only Charlie and Gregory and the lad and the old professor, who's still alive. And they throw them all down below decks. We'll ditch them somewhere and we'll keep this statue. We'll make a fortune, boys, But big bubble-headed octopoid comes back again. And then for the last 10 minutes of an admittedly short movie, lays siege to that boat, battling them tentacles everywhere, and it picks up this big statue and just it's its tentacle wrapped around it, and it's just fucking very lazily smacking it against cabins and the deck and the masts and just fucking smacking shite out the place. And they're all fighting and giving it loads. There actually is a great bit where Doug McClure, as Grogan runs at him, Doug McClure just grabs up and like hoists his body over it, and Grogan just runs through and gets smacked by someone else. Like big battle, which goes on forever. And at the end of the day, the beast gets the statue, destroys the ship, but the lad is like, there's a big hole in the the hull, and everyone's still fighting, and he's praying, and suddenly the lifeboat just drops in front of him. Hey, let's get in now. See, the final scene is that you've got the old professor who's been shot in the back, but he's still doing pretty well. You've got Gregory, you've got Charles, and you've got the lad. Who else have you got? I think that's it, actually. I think the captain gets killed. I think he gets crushed. Could be wrong. I think Shane Rimmer dies. I think so. And like the camera, like, well, what are we going to do now? Well, you best start kicking, boys. And the camera pans down, and you've got Grogan and John Ratzenberger, and they're hanging onto the side, or the back of the boat. Like, best start kicking, boys. And they start fighting each other, and they start kicking the legs, and off they go, heading towards Malta, I would have thought. And so end of Warlords of Atlantis. Mike Vickers' score is very repetitive. In a film that's about an hour and a half, well, less than an hour and a half, you've probably only got about, let's have a look, 7 minutes of score. It just repeats itself all the time. The main theme, it just repeats and repeats and repeats. And it's alright. To be honest, I'd have preferred if someone like Roy Budd, who did Who Dares Wins, of course, and many other great scores. But Roy Budd did the Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, I think a year before. And although Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, as a film and as a score, is the least of all the Harryhausen Sinbad movies, by far, it's still a good score. And I think he would have brought something more to the score. And I'm a big pentameter there, because this is just this constantly, and it does kind of grate on the nerves a little bit, but it's colourful, it's fast paced. You've got beasties, you've got alien races, you've got really sexy women. When they lead Charlie astray from the others, they show him this room of levitation, and it's almost like the ones who aren't levitating are just having fun by lovely opulent pools. Think Mount Olympus and Zeus and all the paradise up there and all that. Everything's gleaming, and pools and curtains and pillars, and just innumerable sexy women, and looks great. But you see these people who are levitating, they're like, what's this? It's magic, they're floating. No, we call it levitation, says Sid Charisse. You're going to think, these people, this race seem like they've strayed in from an old episode of Star Trek, or even Space, or maybe more specifically, Space 1999. They have that look and that attitude, that regal attitude, and like, this is our way of life. But you know, when you interact with the heroes, your way of life's going to be fucking kaput. It's going to be blown away, because mankind strays into alien worlds and disrupts and destroys. Done it to our own planet, for fuck's sake. So, I'm not going to stop there, are we? The effects. Yeah. The octopus is great, actually. That is not bad at all. And you can tell that they love that as well, because there's so many extended sequences of the octopus, especially at the end, just wreaking havoc on the boat. Oh, I hit that wing again. On a wing and a prayer. Actually, you can't see the wing. Oh, wait, that is the wing. Sorry, there's a wing over there which is just off screen. Doesn't matter. They're all gonna fucking cascade to the floor in a minute anyway. But the octopoid is actually, it's really good, and It has a whale of a time with that boat at the end. The bathysphere thing is hokey as hell, and the things in the swamp and the things that crawl up the walls, the shit. I can't sing any praises of those. They're just there. They're just there as a creature feature time filler. Like this video, really. It's just a time filler. And they serve no purpose at all. They just fucking stand there. Oh, superimposed. And these sluggish fucking things, which they're firing cannon. Cannon 1! Cannon 2! You know, and that's Robert Brown giving his orders. With his big caveman beard and all that, like his straggly grey hair. It's an unusual role for him, I'll be honest. And it's surprising to see him like that. When he's normally a very officious sort of, MI6 and authoritarian twat. But it's good fun though. I did enjoy don't get me wrong, I did enjoy watching it. It was a massive blast from the past. I bought that box set many moons ago, and I really haven't looked at any of them. You've got At the Earth's Core there as well. Peter Cushing and Caroline Munro. Come on. And you've got The People That Time Forgot, is it? The Land That Time Forgot. That's the U-boat one. I don't quite like it, that. And of course, DOUG MCCLURE's in all of them, like, and as your hero. This is a film, and this is the annoying thing about it. It probably is prevalent in all three, I would say. Where in almost every line, the character has to say the other character's name. So you've got Gregory and Charlie forever in every sentence. Gregory and Charlie, but Charlie, we can't do this. But Gregory, we can. But Charlie, what do you mean? We know who you are. You know who you are. Why do you keep introducing each other? You know, I just don't get it. And it's so aggravating that some idiot has sat and wrote that down as part of the script. Because as an actor, why are you going to keep saying that name? You're just not, unless that's in the script, you're not going to keep doing it. I don't get it. When you're talking to your mates, you don't keep saying, so John, I've just got here about 10 minutes ago. What do you want, John? Oh, pint of lager. Pint of lager for John. Here you are, John. There's your lager, John. So, how's it going then, John? You alright? You just don't keep saying someone's name. You don't do it. And if you do, if someone keeps going, Kilt-Man this, Kilt-Man that, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face. You know. I know who I am. Folks, Warlords of Atlantis. A load of old shite. But, it's very enjoyable. These are the kind of films that, you know, I should do commentary tracks on, because you have an absolute ball with them. What I like about it though, there is a sheer earnest quality to entertaining. Yes, we've got monsters, we've got seafaring maritime mystery, we've got an alien world, we've got aliens as well, we've got battles and fights, there's action, and it's all done, wrapped up within 85 minutes. It's brilliant. You know, when you think about it. As I say, I would have liked Roy Budd to have done a score for this, because it would have brought something more than just this endless samey motif. But, you know, could get remade one day. Wouldn't have thought so. Who knows? I mean, my effects budget has run to pretty much the same as what their effects budget did. So maybe I could do it. Only I brought dragons, you know. I brought dragons to this. They brought tortoises. That's what they brought. These things climbing up the wall. They're just... They are tortoises. They're turtles. And there's nothing terrifying about that, is there? Even if it's fucking 50 foot long, it's not terrifying. Just get it some lettuce. Eat that. Oh, fuck off, go on. My God, they're attacking again. Through your binoculars, your telescopes, Yes, but it'll take them at least 3 years to reach us. Oh dear. And they're the young ones as well. Folks, Warlords of Atlantis. It's down to you. You want to watch it? Don't blame me. But it is fun. It is fun. And it's a nice little sort of... I actually enjoyed watching it. So I'm taking the piss because there's not much else you can do with it. But I enjoyed it as a kid and I enjoyed it last night as a guy who's 53 years old. It's no groundbreaker. But that girl might give you a bit of a knee trembler, you know? Especially when she squats down and she's firing a Winchester. I like girls with guns, I do. And I like girls squatting down, the knees are up there, and like, oh, I don't know. It would put me off my rifle shot. I'd be like, take me, I'm all yours. I surrender. Right, folks, I'll be back later with Dragon Slayer. I promise yous. In the meantime, and it's ever fucking just throw anything at YouTube in between time. Please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all in a bathysphere near you. Charlie, Gregory, Charlie, Gregory, Charlie. What? Just saying. Oh, that's okay then, Gregory. Cheers, Charlie.